Wait, did they try to restart the DCU after the first one failed? I haven't watched any. The last superhero movie I think I watched was literally, well, it was The Batman. But before that, I think it was Endgame, and I just stopped caring. We graduated out of superhero movies.
After 40 years, we asked...
He's gonna die during filming. I'm just kidding.
What do the fans want? But instead, we're making this movie. May the Schwartz be with you.
I got a Red Bull, 1 sec. You gotta hit a 9:30 to save him. Okay, 9:30 for him to survive the production, 9:50 plus for it to be a great movie. 9:60 plus and it's better than Spaceballs 1. Okay, he's fucked. It's fucked. Realistically, there's so much good material for a Spaceballs 2. I think. Wait, I'm trying to think of Spaceballs 1. Did it make fun of Star Wars, or was it mainly pop culture references? Or like random jokes? Now I actually don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen that movie. Like I remember combing the desert and the goofy helmet, the Force. Wasn't the Force, he was always like squeezing their balls or whatever? I've never seen Destiny get a 950, has he ever? Wait, what? 950 is my floor. I usually am memeing for chat when I'm not getting 950s. Wait, if you want to see me try for real on this, hold on. The shorts, yeah, hold on. Fuck this game. My keyboard is fucking broke. Okay? It's bad switches. Oh, speaking of keyboard, wait, I was supposed to somebody build me a custom keyboard. What the fuck?
You guys understand we have a signed warrant authorizing us from a judge to be here.
And here's my bag of plugs.
I'm just telling you. You say we don't have a right to be here.
I don't give a fuck about a warrant, nothing.
Here's my bag of fucks.
Tell me, do you bleed? Before you answer, just know that I don't give a f***. JK, I give so many f***s. Inside that bag are all the f***s I give.
It's empty.
Darn it, I'll just run over to the f*** store. It's open till 9. Oh no, it's 9:02.
Enough with this silliness. Your fight is not with me. There is a greater threat.
Oh look, a vending machine. And there's one left.
All right, you're gonna check your pockets and say something like,
Oh man, I don't have $1. Looks like I can't give a
so don't waste your time.
But I have $1. Oh no! The got stuck.
I cannot believe you went to all that effort just for this bit. I'm out of here.
Got your head, fresh on 2 for $1.
No, he left, bro. He's already gone.
Don't hate Robot Chicken. Fuck you guys.
Los Angeles, and this man burst into the room, started lunging towards the podium, interrupting me and elevating his voice, and
burst into the room, started interrupting me and elevating his voice.
Towards the podium, interrupting me, and burst into the room, started lunging towards the podium, interrupting me and elevating his voice, and was stopped, did not identify himself, and was removed from the room. So as soon as he identified himself, appropriate actions were taken. But I was the city of Los Angeles.
Senator Alex Padilla, I have questions for the secretary. Senator.
I mean, can you really understand him? Jesus. So David Hall got tossed from the DNC. I don't know if you guys saw that. Rip. The office of... Did you see that Salento got 30 years? Wait, who's that? For what? The office of U.S. Senator Alex, is it Padilla or is it Padilla? Has released a statement after he was detained earlier by, I keep asking you guys and then I don't look at the answer. Hold on. Oh, he says his name. Fuck, I should just listen to him say his name. Wait.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla.
Oh, Padilla. Okay. He released a statement after he was detained earlier by federal law enforcement officers in Los Angeles, with Senator Padilla claiming that he was only trying to ask Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem a question during a press conference when he was forcibly removed by federal agents, forced to the ground and handcuffed. The statement that adds that Senator Padilla has since been released from custody. Okay. I've seen statements about how much money it's costing to deploy the National Guard. Are these true things? Like, where are these numbers coming from? I think I've seen like 134 million or anything like, or like numbers in that ballpark, like 134 million, 143 million or something. Is this like 100% true and verified, or? Any thoughts about the political calculus of the senator's detainment? Does this help MAGA gain support? I don't know if it helps them. I don't know if, again, because of like how stupid this admin is, I don't know if anything has helped them. They haven't accomplished anything. Like, that's the problem. They haven't done anything. Like, the Trump admin hasn't gotten anything done. Gallup poll, popularity Trump. What is the presidential approval ratings? That's what I'm looking for. May. It's just been sinking. Like I feel like nothing has gone their way.
Mr. Secretary, I want to express my severe concern with the deployment of the National Guard in Los Angeles without consultation of the state of California. There have been photographs that have shown these troops sleeping on the floor. and have not been provided fuel, food, or water by DoD. How long will this deployment last, and why were we unprepared to provide them basic necessities such as food and water?
The commanders and troops on the field are very well prepared, sir. They responded incredibly rapidly to a deteriorating situation with equipment and capabilities. We have made sure from the top down, as the Secretary of Defense who's been in a unit holding riot shields outside the White House during the chaos of the summer of 2020. I know what it's like to be immediately deployed into a situation like that. There are moments where you make do as best you can temporarily, but
I think, God, I want Newsom everywhere now. You need to slaughter these fuckers, metaphorically, on policy and procedure, right? Like, outside the White House, excuse me, sir, real quick, shut the fuck up. Deploying the National Guard, the National Guard is who goes to D.C., right? So we're not even talking about that right now. D.C. should have the resource of the National Guard. That's literally the National Guard of D.C. is like the federal National Guard. Now, I will say, it is interesting that you guys were able to so quickly deploy without the will of the governor to California, when I thought I heard over and over and over again that you couldn't deploy to the Capitol on January 6th because you didn't get the right request. Very interesting, the difference there, that you had to wait so long to deploy there, but you could deploy, on day 2 or 3 or whatever to California, even though the governor or the mayor didn't want you there. Just saying. But I don't know why you're comparing the National Guard activity in the Capitol in D.C., where the president is literally the head authority there to deploy the National Guard, versus California, where this request should come through the governor.
But we are ensuring they're housed, fed, water capabilities in real time from my office, because I care that much about the California Guard and the Marines and the men and women who are supporting our ICE agents on the ground.
You should check.
You didn't answer the question. You weren't ready for this.
It's true every day.
Was he talking about January 6th or the BLM riots? He was talking about BLM. That's why he said the summer. Anytime they say the summer of, they're always talking about the BLM riots.
And that's a disingenuous attack that misrepresents how much we care about our troops and what they're doing to defend ICE agents. I'm not going to take the fact that we don't care about the troops. Nobody cares more about the troops at the top than this secretary and the chairman and our department.
How long will the deployment last?
We stated very publicly that it's 60 days because we want to ensure that those rioters, looters, and thugs on the other side assaulting our police officers know that we're not going anywhere.
What is it?
Looters. We stated very publicly that it's 60 days.
60 days of at least 2,700 troops? What was it? 700 Marines and 2,000 members of the National Guard federalized? 60 days? Is that up to 4,000? Somebody said 4,000.
Because we want to ensure that those rioters, looters, and thugs on the other side assaulting our police officers know that we're not going anywhere. We're here to maintain the peace on behalf of law enforcement officers in Los Angeles, which Gavin Newsom won't do.
What is this?
We're here to maintain the peace on behalf of law enforcement officers in Los Angeles, which Gavin Newsom won't do.
On behalf of the law enforcement officers in Los Angeles, that request needs to come from them then. That's another lie, right?
What is the estimated cost of the deployment for the Guard and the Marines to L.A., and where's this funding coming from? Will it be coming from quality of life programs that affect our service members or our families? If you want to wait till I finish.
Before I hand it to
such as updates, housing and barracks.
Before I hand it to Bryn, the insinuation that we're pulling money from housing and barracks in order to fund this is disingenuous and incorrect.
I'm just asking.
Bryn can give you the numbers. Absolutely.
So the current estimated cost is $134 million, which is largely just TDY cost, travel, housing, food, etc.
What does TDY mean? TDY, travel, diet, yeast infection. Per diem, travel, defense. Per diem is a set allowance for lodging, meal, and incidental costs occurred. Temporary duty costs. What does the Y stand for? Temporary duty Y. TDY. Why does TDY stand for temporary duty? DY equals duty? That's so stupid. That can't be the case. What does TDY stand for? Temporary duty. Why wouldn't it be TYDY? Temporary duty travel. Why not TDT? Temporary additional duty, TAD. Why wouldn't that be TADY? Okay.
Oh, where's it coming from? That's the cost, but where's it coming from?
You shouldn't ask where. That's not how money works in the government. If you want to ask a better question, in my opinion, because they can just say, well, it's not coming from anywhere, because that's true, it wouldn't come from anywhere. You just say you have to borrow more to pay for it. So you're increasing the deficit. That's what you're doing, right? And consequentially, the debt.
Other O&M accounts.
Actually, I could be wrong there. There might be a specific amount of money allocated to the military, and it does have to come from some other part of the military budget, actually. That might actually be the case, actually. I should go on that.
O&M accounts.
With the most recent deployment of the Marines, Mr. Secretary, what's the justification for using the military for civilian law enforcement purposes in L.A.? Why are you sending war fighters to cities to interact with civilians?
Yep.
Every American citizen deserves to live in a community that's safe, and ICE agents need to be able to do their job.
And then also, I'm going to be critical of the left here again, and the Democrats, the mainstream left as well, this constant conflation of all cops as being the same and all cops being bad has defanged us, and it's destroyed our ability to have a critical conversation about this. Because I think in most Americans' minds, if I had to guess, there's not that much of a difference between a cop with an AR-15 arresting you versus a Marine with an M4 arresting you. Just whatever, it's all police, it's all cops. It's not all police and it's not all cops. It is significantly different and significantly more serious to have the military deployed to do policing things, which is not their job. It's not what they want to do. It's not what they're trained to do, versus having even federal officers deployed, like the FBI or whatever. I don't know if the FBI does deployments, which is significantly different than having local law enforcement, like the LAPD or state police doing stuff.
They're being attacked for doing their job, which is deporting illegal criminals. That should happen in any city, Minneapolis or Los Angeles. And if they're attacked, that's lawless, and President Trump believes in law and order. So he has every authority, and he has done mobilizing National Guard or active duty troops under U.S. code to protect federal agents in their job, which is exactly what we're doing, and we're proud to do it. We're proud to do it.
10 U.S.C. of the U.S. Code 12406 says a legal basis that the president used cites
Oh, nice. Good job. We're going to the EO that he cites. That's good.
3 examples and circumstances for the Guard. Invasion by a foreign nation, rebellion or dangerous rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States, or the president is unable with regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. Which authority is triggered here to justify the use?
Are we really complaining about the U.S. spending money on deploying Marines when the illegal aliens in California run the state into a $73 billion deficit as of 2024? I don't think the illegal aliens are running California into a deficit, my friend.
I don't know. You just read it yourself, and people can listen themselves, but it sounds like all 3 to me.
If you fucking retard, absolutely disgusting. Everything can't be an invasion. Everything can't be everything. The conflation and the abuse of the English language here is so insane for these people that they can just call anything whatever the fuck they want it to be. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
If you've got millions of illegals and you don't know where they're coming from, they're waving flags from foreign countries and assaulting police officers and law enforcement.
You don't know who's waving these flags. You have no fucking idea if those are illegal aliens waving those flags or if it's U.S. citizens waving the flag. You have no clue who the fuck is waving what.
Officers, that's the problem. The laws of the United States.
No, the governor of California is unable to execute the laws of the United States.
The president, you said all
three apply. The governor of the California has failed to protect his people, along with the mayor of Los Angeles, and so President Trump has said he will protect our agents, and our Guard and Marines are proud to do it.
Like, are we setting up for the deposing of the mayor and the governor? I don't think so, but I mean, who the fuck knows? But that's what all the language sounds like, right?
Says, Mr. Secretary, that the orders for these purposes shall be issued through governors of the states.
Yep. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean, Hegseth?
You and I both know that President Trump has all the authorities necessary.
That's not an answer. Repeat the same fucking question. Say, that's great, non-responsive. I'm going to ask the same question again. And repeat the same fucking question.
And thankfully, he's willing to do it on behalf of the citizens of Los Angeles, on behalf of our ICE agents, and behalf of our...
Read the same thing again. Read the same thing again. Where is the authority in this statement? Explain it.
Country.
It's wild.
Tell me about that. And then I called somebody else, and I happened to speak to President Putin at the time. Now, in all fairness to him, he lost 51 million people, and he did fight. Russia fought. Sort of interesting, isn't it? He fought with us in World War II, and everybody hates him. Tell me about that. And then I called somebody.
Based. Isn't this the definition of a military coup on California? A little bit, yeah. Is there actually any authority of the federal government to get rid of governors and mayors? Not that I've ever heard of in my entire life. That sounds insane. I would have a hard time believing that that would have been ratified by the states, but maybe there's some law or something that gives people the ability to... I've never heard of that before. Pirate Software and Shay lied in their response. I know a lot of you have talked about this as a nothing burger, but this right here proves that Thor and Shay are lying. Oh my God, why? Okay. I don't care. I still don't care. Could Trump theoretically deploy the military to all states without anything going on that would normally warrant the military because of his state of emergency that's constantly in place? Yeah, they've already shown that they're willing to do that. They'll call anything an emergency to start deploying the military. They've already lied about it for the tariffs, and they've lied about it for the deportations. So. Today we heard from Felicia, a single mom of 4 who works up to 3 jobs at a time to make ends meet. She counts on Snap to help put food on the table. This is who Republicans in Congress are trying to take food away from.
Mom of 4 who are ages 21, 17, 12, and 11. I would like to tell you my story on how SNAP benefit has helped me. Sorry.
God damn it.
Go ahead. You're doing good.
When I had my oldest daughter 21 years ago, I was working 3 jobs. 1 job alone, I had to pay childcare. Another one to pay food.
But guys, we can find better victims, okay?
Do you think political allegiance to Trump is a requirement for serving our nation, either in uniform or a civilian in the department?
I'm incredibly proud, as are millions of Americans.
No. Not today, Hegseth. Yes or no?
Congressman, you know what a silly question that is.
But silly enough to warrant a very straightforward answer. Yes or no?
We all support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
You know what? I'm not going to waste my time anymore. You're not worthy of my attention or my questions. You're an embarrassment to this country. You're unfit to lead. And there's been bipartisan members of Congress that have called for your resignation. You should just get the hell out and let somebody competently lead this department.
Mr. Chairman, do we not have any decorum in here?
Thank you very much. I yield my time.
Gentleman yields back. And I would urge everybody to remember and maintain a decorum suitable for this chamber with their further comments. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Tennessee, Dr. Desjardins.
Thank
What is the point of the Senate and Congress? This is all for show. The Democrats critique and the Republican senators stick suck. I mean, there's the Republicans have a majority and they won't do anything to Trump. So, I mean, the point of the Congress is to pass legislation and stuff, and none of the Republicans want to. So it's working as intended right now. Blame the American people. Pro-ICE kick streamer gets what she asked for at anti-ICE protest. Oh. Uh-oh. Merck is going viral.
Deport them all! Are you bending over on me on a minor? Bro, on a minor? Why are you bending over on a minor? Do you touch kids, bitch? Do you touch kids, bitch? No fascist USA!
Like, I would have more sympathy if it was a MAGA or like hardcore Nazi person. This is like so cringe. Like, why are you here? Like, because she's retarded politically. She doesn't know anything about it. Like, you're just here to literally be edgy. It's such a cringe thing to be involved in. Like, at least like a person with the actual deportable beliefs can say they believe in that shit. But she literally is just a retard here, like epically trolling in the most retarded way possible. I don't know. I feel like it's so fucking cringe.
Imprisoned, tortured, and murdered Jews by the hundreds of thousands and committed genocide against the Jews.
Paste. Based. What a king. He's such a king right now. Ryder throws a bottle at LA County Sheriff and gets absolutely lit up at close range. He's about to get blasted? These guys have not, these are paintball guns or whatever, right? What is he doing? Dog. Oof. Rip. Got him.
Whoa! Stop!
Rip. What was the spear for? Wait, does the spear mean the tackle, or why did he tackle him? Because he was going to get away. He had to secure him. That's the kind of self-policing we need. Hell yeah. Call that a citizen's arrest. It's kind of ironic how there are illegal immigrants who are rioting because they don't want to be deported, but they are kind of proving why they should be deported. I seriously doubt it's illegal immigrants that are rioting. It's probably citizens. The truly ironic thing is that all of the raids that are happening to find all of these illegal immigrants aren't happening at homeless shelters, SNAP centers, and other welfare places. They're happening in places of work. When I thought all these illegal immigrants were supposed to be leeching the money off of our fucking system. Do you have proof that it's U.S. citizens rioting? I mean, I haven't heard anybody getting deported from it. And if I see somebody in the U.S., my assumption, default, is going to be that they're either a citizen or a green card holder because the vast majority of the people here. What do you mean? How am I supposed to... What? The default assumption would be that they're probably citizens. How come the employers don't face consequences? All you have to do as an employer, if you're hiring somebody, when the employee fills out an I-9, you just have to look for a couple pieces of identification, and as long as they have it, then you're allowed to employ them. And I believe that protects you from. So if they have like a fake social security number and then an address of the state or whatever, I think that satisfies your I-9 requirements. Also, Destiny, it seems like they aren't happening in any red states. Do we really think Texas has not undocumented people? Maybe the people in Texas just don't want to protest ICE like the people in California do. I mean, they're pretty politically different. Merck got hit in Texas. Oh, was she in Texas when she did her thing?
Turn violent. All right. This is what so I'm gonna break it down for you. All right. And if somebody wants to know what I mean by turn violent, all right, this is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired, because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street.
Jesus.
If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here.
Damn.
If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies.
There have been huge protests in Dallas and Austin. Bro, it's retarded. Okay.
We will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead.
Damn.
We're not going to play.
Jesus.
This has got to stop. You're watching what's taking place out there. You're seeing police officers that are being attacked, being spit on, being put in harm's way just for doing their jobs. You're seeing ICE agents that are being targeted for doing their jobs. And you're seeing obstructionists that are doing all of this, standing in the way of law and order.
Governor Abbott deploys over 5,000 Texas National Guard troops ahead of the planned No Kings protests. Okay.
Both, especially you, General Kane, as we see an increasingly... Okay, I strongly disagree with you. And I urge you both, especially you, General Kane, as we see an increasingly political rhetoric, including from the Secretary, to please, for the good of our troops, this is an incredibly difficult moment, and we need leaders like you to continue to echo the apolitical nature. I have 12 seconds. Mr. Secretary, I don't say this lightly. I have to say this on the record. I think your tenure as Secretary of Defense has been shameful and weak, and you should resign. Okay, I strongly disagree with you.
Based. Please finish the Soy Pill Tim Pool video. I'm literally begging and crying for you to watch it. Ugh, I might, okay? We'll see. Let me get through my rest of my tabs.
Let me speak. Our rules...
Destiny's turning to Asmongold? What? I have no sympathy for people that attack cops. If you get attacked cops, you just get your ass whipped. That's fine. Get your shit pushed in. Fuck you. Especially local police. You're the other protest feds. Find ways to protest. We're not attacking people. The sooner the cops take you out, the better it is for us, okay? You need to be removed immediately from protests or riots if you're engaged in violent activity. Get the fuck out.
You are responsible for the murder of this little girl, Laken Riley.
Oh my God.
And the Department of Justice should prosecute you for her murder.
Objection. Objection.
I don't care how much you object, and if you
Objection.
support it too,
Objection.
you're
All right.
responsible for her murder.
Mr.
I yield
Gentlelady,
back, Mr. Chairman.
On a point of order.
Gentlelady,
On a point of order.
Gentlelady's time's
On a point of
expired.
order.
State your point.
Mr. Chairman, these witnesses have been here for over 4
Spit too? Yeah, if you get spit, you get arrested. Fuck you. You can't spit on people. What the fuck is wrong with you? The fuck?
hours. They've all voluntarily have been engaging with our members with respect. They've all treated our members with respect.
Laken Riley is dead forever.
Forever.
Forever? No technology can ever bring her back? Really?
Forever. They can sit there all day.
My time.
Hold on. No, wait, state your point.
I'm trying to.
State your point. No, it's a point of inquiry, not a debate.
Our
You've had your
rules,
time.
our rules, if you would let me speak, our rules of decorum dictate that our witnesses should be treated with respect, and I ask you to enforce decorum and remind committee members to treat our witnesses with respect.
Our members are.
Destiny, he said put in a body bag, not arrested. If you're aiming guns at the cops, yeah, fuck it. I have no sympathy. Stellar Blade PC. Why am I linking this trailer?
Transmitting final briefing. As of now, airborne flight.
Wow, spaceships. Holy.
For this moment.
Econo Boy soyed out last night over Dems having to disavow violence. I mean, I would have to see it, but there's there's different. It depends on the context. To other Democrats, I think we should disavow. We need to kick these people the fuck out. And let them get arrested. That guy who speared that dude, who tackled the guy who threw the bottle at the cop base, get him the fuck out. Because the violent people, the looters and all these people suck shit and they hurt us. But to a conservative, whoo, I wouldn't admit fuck all to a conservative. Fuck that. Not in front of a conservative. I would never disavow in front of a conservative. You don't disavow shit in front of conservatives. I literally said this. Somebody made a clip of this the other day. I'm not gonna be able to find it. Stop posting so much on the subreddit. Best. What the fuck? You're not on the subreddit.
Like the people you think are despicable. So you think behaving like the people you think are despicable is the correct course of action?
Behaving like the people who are despicable would be leading that type of rhetoric. It would be denying every single bad thing. How many times as a liberal, how many times as a liberal have you been on a show, not you in general, but like a liberal been on a show and you've been forced to disavow all of the BLM riots, disavow all of the violence and blah, blah, blah. And then you talk to conservatives about it. January 6th,
violence,
that was
that's
a false
good.
flag.
Yeah.
January 6th. Oh, like conservatives disavow January 6th?
Wait. First off, there's an entire cultural machine that has lied. There is an entire
we just saw it in real time. That's it.
What?
That's why conservatives deserve absolutely zero sympathy for anything that happens as a result of their rhetoric. That's it. It's so easy.
Fuck them. Yeah, fuck conservatives.
Less inclined to blame Trump.
Josiah, okay. Democrats should never get tripped up on this issue and 100% play offense, okay? When the January 6th riot happened and you had people waving Confederate flags and shouting, "Hang Mike Pence," 100% of those people got pardoned by this president. I absolutely, it just pisses me off.
Can you angle your microphone? Because you sound like, there you go.
It might not no, but look.
There you go. That's better.
Yeah, sorry. For my entire adult life, Democrats have had to apologize every time a communist or some guy who's an anarchist goes to a protest and throws a brick through a window. It's not the Democrats' job to do that. These people are not part of the party.
It's not about apologizing. Nobody said anything about apologizing.
They're not part of the party, though, but that's not how it always feels, I guess, right? I think Newsom's statements have been perfect. I think Newsom, his messaging has been perfect on this. Don't riot. We don't support it. You're going to get arrested. Full stop. And then that's it. I think that's fine. And then nobody can attack you saying you're supporting the rioters or anything else. And if they do, it's hard. They don't have clips or anything to farm off it.
No. Because no, I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying that it seems like the argument is, well, gosh, what are the Democrats supposed to do? It's like they always have to fucking apologize and like deal with this rhetoric. The answer is don't deal with it. They don't apologize for every fucking rally they have, people waving Confederate flags around and saying Democrats are pedophiles. And I don't think that the Democrats need to apologize when a guy has a fucking hammer and sickle t-shirt on and he's shouting at a cop. These are the same exact situation. And if their optics...
They're not the same, though. I don't think... Also, keep in mind, remember... January 6th was really unpopular when it happened. That was one of the first times that like Republicans had done a bit of an exodus from the Republican Party. It only was retroactively recoded as being popular after Trump began to regain popularity in like 2022, 2023. And then people started to kind of change their view on it. And then history was rewritten. And now people are like, oh, no, it was justified or based or it was peaceful or whatever else,
aren't negatively affected by it, which it appears it's to be quite marginal. It doesn't seem to affect the base at all. They just won the last election. I just don't think that the Democrats have much reason to spend productive fucking time on the airway, talking about this or apologizing for it. Yeah, riots are bad. Let's talk about all the crazy violations of our rights that Republicans are doing. And I'm not yelling at you because I love you. Okay,
I think... Like Econoboy in my position, I think I should be similar. Like what he just said is fine. I think that's fine. Yeah, you don't go on a whole fucking apology tour for it. Just like the riots are bad. You shouldn't do that, and then move on to the next thing immediately. I agree with that. So we're probably largely in line here. I think I would hope. Is this a good game or is it just a boobs game? Is it out yet? Launch trailer. Boobs game. Boobs. Chat, you're actually so insane. A protester could unleash the next T-virus super rape weapon, and you'd sit there going, yep, this is reasonable. Why is chat so hungry to kill cops and blow up buildings? Do they have breakfast? Would breakfast make a difference there? I saw this stuff related to the Trump tweets this morning. Wait, so are we... Is he stopping the whole deportation thing? I don't understand what this is. Our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business, leisure business have been stating that our very aggressive policy in immigration is taking very good long-time workers away from them, with those jobs being almost impossible to replace. In many cases, the criminals let into our country by the very stupid Biden open borders policy are applying for those jobs. This is not good. We must protect our farmers, but get the criminals out of the USA. Changes are coming. I thought they were all criminals, though. I thought that's what we said. What the fuck is even going on?
First, on immigration, what made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great.
Yes, we knew this before you started all of your unhinged shit. What did he just watch a documentary or something? Or did he just see like a movie? Where did this come from? Hello?
Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not.
He sounds like the most liberal person now, like just this little thing, like, you know, they've been working for 20 years, man. They're basically, this sounds like me and the Kaizen talk, right? These people are integrated. They've been working here. They're not like criminals. Like, yeah, maybe they're not legal immigrants or whatever. They don't have their paperwork, but like, Jesus, you know, like what happened?
You know, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you know, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers. And leisure, too. Hotels.
An order? There is a world. And it's so infuriating because Republicans would support it. There is a world where Trump does amnesty. You know that, right? Like, there's a world where Trump signs a bill saying, if you're here illegally, you will be deported and charged with 50 million more crimes than ordinary. However, if you work in these 10 different industries, we are going to provide you a path to citizenship. And all the Republicans will be like, bravo, Trump has solved. Oh, what a genius. And we're like, wait, he's doing amnesty? He's not doing amnesty. That's not amnesty. He's making them legal. They're not even criminals anymore. Like, there is a world where he does amnesty and all the Republicans would support it. It's so cringe.
We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
Oh, yeah? Now we're pragmatic? Rubio fakes a slip to excuse Trump's stare struggles. Epic. She went to Fox News right after. We watched this already, but that's so crazy to me. State media, so cringe.
Secretary. Well, he was never arrested. He was never arrested, and nobody knew who he was when he came into the room creating a scene. He was removed from the room, and yes, they started to put handcuffs on him when he finally identified himself, and then that was stopped. They said he wants to talk to you. I said, sure, I'd love to sit down and visit. So we went to them.
Civilians have impersonated ICE agents while committing robbery, kidnapping, sexual assault, and other forms of public intimidation. Who could have seen this coming? Well, I feel like this has already been a thing where people impersonate police officers to do crazy things. Remember when, I don't know if this was in DC or New York, when there were a whole bunch of people dressed as cops, and they even had fucking cop cars.
Activating communications encryption protocol.
These guys aren't real cops. Just saying, okay?
Get me out of here. Get me out of here.
Wait. Oh, sorry. Thought I said something. Okay. What is this?
You have the only armed, disciplined force available.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be your policeman. There's a reason why you separate military and the police. One fights the enemy, the state. The other serves and protects the people. When the military becomes both, then the enemies of the state tend to become the people.
Rep. Ms. Kef, I will not go to kick, period. Uh-oh. Wait, let me use the restroom.
Mask and face shields, and they couldn't get it. When the president starts talking about airplane shipments from China, because that's the only place we could get these N95 masks, I realized this is a big deal. We can't make the things we need. And I'm not talking about the mask debate. Like, imagine, if we're talking about individual airplanes coming from China, do you think Alabama is on the priority list of where those things get distributed? No, we weren't. And so as a local community, we decided we're going to 3D print masks for our medical workers, the N95 masks, the face shields and stuff like that. A guy in California had developed a system to do this safely, so we did. We came together. It was a really good community moment. We 3D printed these things, but we realized very quickly, this is slow and very difficult. We need to be able to manufacture things. And so I started trying to find where I could manufacture these things, and this revealed to me how anemic our manufacturing capacity in America has become, because I was waiting on some billionaire to come save us, and it didn't happen. You know what happened? I went and found a guy here locally in Alabama. His name is Chris Robeson. He knew how to make an injection mold, and he did. We worked together, and we created an injection mold here in Alabama. This is the model number Huntsville 02 made in Alabama face shield. This is what was distributed here in Alabama to our medical workers. You put a little piece of plastic over there, and we used this in hospitals all over the state and even in adjacent states. So this whole pandemic made me realize that our manufacturing capacity in America has been gutted. If Chris had decided to retire before I needed that mold made, we would not have been able to make an injection mold in my area, and this made me mad. I realized the knowledge chain almost broke, so I made this tweet asking about how I would find local manufacturers in order to make things in America. That's what I realized had to happen, and so I started on the journey. All right, I'm gonna pause here and introduce you to the last, probably most important person of the story that you need to know about before we get going, John Youngblood. John owns a small business named JJ George that sells grill products. There's a ton of problems with grill brushes on the market. We'll get into those later, but John had a very clever idea to solve these problems with chainmail. Now, I got excited about his idea, and I wanted to get involved as an engineer and just help him in general, so we decided to work together. I tagged along as John presented his idea at a roundtable discussion of local business owners.
The problem is that every product out there that's a grill scraper is mediocre at best. Like, I know I'm buying a disposable product. Maybe one a season.
John got to start by making wooden grill tables right here in the USA, but he's also worked with people overseas to make other grill accessories. John was experiencing pain because of that. Like, I don't know if you realize this, but as a small business, if you have an idea and you get it made overseas, that's cool, but they have all the tooling to make the thing that you wanted made. So at night, they can literally just crank up the machine, make more of them with less high quality products, and they can just countersell against you on Amazon, and you have no recourse. There's nothing you could do. This is one of John's best-selling products on Amazon. At least it used to be, because look at all of these knockoffs. They're everywhere. The interesting thing about this is John has a patent, and he's tried to get these other things taken down off of Amazon, but he's found it almost impossible to get Amazon to respond in a timely manner. It's like playing whack-a-mole. Look at all these letters he had to get lawyers to write. That's a lot of money. The interesting thing is Amazon almost tells these manufacturers overseas what to knock off. If you go to the product page, you can see how many were sold in the last month. And all they have to do is say, oh, look, that one sells 3,000 units a month. That's clearly what I want to pirate. So these product pirates go and they'll take a really good product like his grill torch and they'll just knock it off. And parts of it are exactly the same. Other parts of it are a little different because they want to make it cheaper. Like, for example, on John's unit, there is a removable screw that allows you to take the tube off in the event that a dirt dauber gets in there or something. Not on the other unit. There's nothing like that. It's glued in position. You just have to throw it away. It's weird because they're selling this for half the price, but at the same time, they're taking all the business and they're making lower quality products. Not only does this mean counterfeit goods for buyers, look at what sellers are saying in Amazon's own seller forum. Amazon's inability to police this, or at worst, unwillingness to prioritize it, that's destroying small businesses and manufacturers in America who depend on the very idea of intellectual property to protect them from fraud. So this is one of the main reasons why John wanted to work with me. I wanted to work with him because I wanted to make something and he knows the business side, but he wanted to work with me so we could use the YouTube channel to tell people about the product and not have to sell it on Amazon. So again, Amazon, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Let's get to part 2 of the video. How did we build this thing? To understand why we have all these parts, let's think about the problem we're trying to solve. We have grill grates and we're trying to scrub it with chainmail, right? So in order to do that, we need the chainmail to kind of be compliant around those bars. So we want to apply downward pressure. To do that, we need something squishy behind the chainmail that when we push it down, it wraps those chainmail links around those grates. So I figured out that in order to attach the chainmail and the rubbery part to a handle, we're going to have a problem because the squishy part would break. So what we need is some type of adapter that could go between the squishy and the rigid handle, and then that way you can move the whole thing and it would all work as one. So that's how we did all this, and I learned from the pandemic that the key to making things fast is injection molding. I covered injection molding in the MVP disc golf disc video. You have 2 parts of a metal mold and you clamp them together so that they have a cavity in the center, the shape of the part you want. You then inject molten plastic into that void and let it solidify.
Okay, pause, next. Listen, I don't know what he's gonna get to by the end of this video, or if he's trying to sell something economically. I'm gonna say this for the 50 quadrillionth time. If you want to talk about creating something for national emergency scenarios or for security scenarios, that's fine. Just don't pretend that you can do it at an economically viable cost as well. Like, these are two separate things. You can't have everything. That's all I'm saying, all right? Okay. But maybe he doesn't make that argument by the end of this. I don't know. Okay. You missed the main reason why U.S. gets fucked in trade. Spoiler, IP abuse. Wait, did he say that? If so, I didn't hear it. I had the speakers on. I heard him talk about the one thing, but IP abuse is an issue for sure, but I wouldn't say it's the main reason. He makes an argument that contradicts something you mentioned about the labor we do in the U.S. versus labor in China. Wait, okay, hold on.
In Amazon's own seller forum, Amazon's inability to police this, or at worst, unwillingness to prioritize. And they'll take a really good product like his grill torch and they'll just knock it off. And parts of it are exactly the same. Other parts of it are a little different because they want to make it cheaper. Like, for example, on John's unit, there is a removable screw that allows you to take the tube off in the event that a dirt dauber gets in there or something. Not on the other unit. There's nothing like that. It's glued in position.
Later on, you didn't miss it.
You just have to throw it away. It's weird because they're selling this for half the price, but at the same time, they're taking all the business and they're making lower quality products. Not only does this mean counterfeit goods for buyers, look at what sellers are saying in Amazon's own seller forum.
Oh, this is annoying. I mean, the IP thing is annoying. I don't mean to say that it's not a problem, but it's just to solve it. These are like international trade deal things that you have to do to figure it out. And for whatever reason, the U.S. has been unable or unwilling to enforce that or figure that out. You don't even need an international trade deal, just force Amazon to police their platform more. Well, can Amazon enforce patents? How would Amazon even determine what's legal or not? That might be a little bit outside of their... I don't even know how that would work. Maybe they can, and maybe Amazon should be more proactive about it. I'm not sure. Welcome to the most boring video we've ever posted. Here's 60 minutes of our humanoid robot solving logistics powered by our Helix neural network. Can you just make a robot that can jerk me off? We just need sex robots. Can we just get that? And then the funding will be there for the rest of these robots, all right? You have to hire a Chinese law firm to fight the copyright infringement. It's about 20K for you to have. Fuck that. You don't ever want to be in a situation where you are, or I've been told this, I don't have as much experience here, but I've been told that you don't ever want to be a foreign party in a law firm in another country. That's just always a bad time. You never trust. It's just not, you don't ever want to be in that situation. This is one of the reasons, I believe, one of the big reasons why arbitration courts and everything exist and mediation when it comes to these international trade deals, because courts are probably always, whether they want to be or not, are going to be a little bit more favorable to their own citizens than they are going to be to foreigners, especially if it's over like a heated topic. And you don't want to be suing, like Canada just banned some rubber shit, and now I'm an American company that has like a 30% market share, and I'm going to go to Canada and sue a Canadian company in a Canadian court, potentially in front of a Canadian jury. Fuck that. Hell no. I'm not going to go there. I'm super persona non grata. You want an international court or some kind of mediation agreement there, right? Why not just use 2 robot arms instead of a full humanoid robot for that? I don't know. Good question. The entire point is that the humanoid is capable of multiple tasks. Okay. You mean like your mom? Ha ha! Woo! I need your take on Ex Machina. Was it a good movie or nah? I thought Ex Machina was an amazing movie. And I think that was a really low budget movie too, wasn't it? Wasn't this movie made for like less than like $15 million or something? Maybe I'm way undershooting that. Or it was like a mid-budget movie. $15 million. This is a really good movie. 2 really good performances. Or 3, the lady robot does a good job as well. But Oscar Isaac gives a killer performance. I think the main nerd dude does a good job. Okay. What is this?
Exclamation mark, play.
Wait, did Mizkif ever recover, or is he like eternally brain broken after the whole thing? Three streams in the last 7 days. Oh no, okay, he's streaming again. Oh, 6 streams in the last month. 28 streams in the last 3 months. He ran off to Japan to pretend he's a nomad for a month. What about League? What about League? Are you going to stream Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster? I will almost certainly stream and beat that game. Hell yeah.
Exclamation mark, play. I will not go to kick. Period. Exclamation point, play. Period. That's it. That's all you need to know. I will not go. Why?
Can you explain how Trump is a dictator in a way that would hold up in court? I don't think there's a criminal charge for being a dictator, so I don't know what that means.
I've had times where I've thought about it. I've had times where I think about it. Their owner made me try to kill myself. I will not go to kick. I'm good.
Sorry. What, like Eddie tried to make him kill himself, or does he mean new mic threats posted in the sub? Or is he talking about train wrecks, or? You're big into Final Fantasy. Any interest in the new Magic set? I never got into Magic or anything like that. Did Mizkif leave OTK? I think he did a while ago. I thought he did, right? Didn't he? They separated formally? I don't think so. Maybe step down from leadership roles? I don't know. How do you feel about qualified immunity with police officers? It's probably fine. I think it's okay. Qualified immunity just means you can't be like sued and shit for your job. Which, like, if you were to get rid of that for people that work in law enforcement, the system probably wouldn't work, right? Because every single time you get arrested, people would sue every single cop for, He beat me up. He arrested me. He kidnapped me, right? Which is kind of goofy. Destiny, am my brain broken, or is it normal for me to hate when people say X made me try to kill myself? Like, no, bro, you tried to kill yourself. You're the only one that did that. I mean, some people can contribute to it more than others in more intentional ways. It really depends, right? Did you see Senator Padilla get tackled and cuffed for speaking at Christine Noem's press conference? Yeah, we watched it earlier. Beautiful thing. What do you mean, like, not much to be proud of here? Bro, come on. Seriously? Like...
I think, like, one of the things that low IQ Destiny, the only reason he's in this country is because our country passed the wet foot, dry foot policy for Cuban immigrants to encourage them to steal money from Cuba when our American-backed dictator was overthrown. The only reason he's in this country, this fucking Gusano bitch, is because they passed a special policy just for Cubans called wet foot, dry foot. And so if you got to dry land as a Cuban, you were given legal status.
Just as a heads up, the most racist attacks that I've ever dealt with in my entire life have exclusively come from lefties. There were racist insults and racist ways of dealing with people from Cuba that I'd never even heard of before, despite all my debates with Nazis and everything else. The worst that Nazis would do is try to say I'm Jewish. But just, yeah.
They had open borders for Cuban immigrants just to encourage as many people to steal money and resources from Cuba as possible to try to destroy the country because we were mad that our dictator got overthrown. What a fucking rat. What a disgusting rat. And these people have lived and worked in this country for decades, are being kidnapped off the streets. Families are being ripped apart, and it's shameful. You should be ashamed, you fucking cuck. Now, Destiny was born here, but his parents weren't.
Both of them? You don't even know anything about my background. Why? Like, these are crazy statements. It's insane that it's not insane that Twitch allows it. I understand because of the culture and the white hating or whatever weird shit they have going on in those insanely, probably disgusting smelling offices, but.
To look at immigrants through no fault, like your status existing only because of a special carve out for your Gusano parents, your slave owning parents, and to look down on people who are having their lives destroyed by fucking Donald Trump and shame them. Fuck you, you little rat fuck. You loser. You Trump supporting cuck bitch. I can't wait for you to be a Republican in 2 years, you fucking bitch.
They've been saying this for a decade, by the way. In case you don't realize it, the reason why this guy's upset is because there was a girl that I was banging for about a year that he tried to jump ship to after me and this girl kind of had a falling out. And I guess he's super mad because he never got it in because he was too much of an actual beta soy fuck to ever do anything, despite the fact that I think he left his family on Christmas as his wife was tweeting out, hey, where are you? And he was trying to get it in with this other chick, and he's just really, really mad that he was never able to. But, you know, it happens. It's all good, Mike. I did feel some sympathy for him on the streams with that chick, though, because he was getting abused like crazy, and he was too much of a weak, spineless fuck to actually do anything about it. RIP! All right, where are we? Play the mic clips? Do I don't want to replay them every time. This guy's a loser.
That's fine. I
Play the clip.
That's fine. I think that's fine. So if a guy pays for my tab,
I think I'm getting your attention.
Jesus.
I feel like I touched like a vampire touching holy water.
Can I help you?
Well, I think they want to go in.
Okay.
Yeah, keep in mind, he calls me Trump supporting, and this is what he was tweeting, what, 2 days ago? Holocaust Harris lost the election, and it was glorious. 2 days ago? 10th of June, 2025? Okay, so Miskiff not going to kick. Got it. Couch clip. Please play.
Red.
God damn
You know
it.
how red my hand is?
Wait.
Is that weird? Well, no. Just
I always get
This is difficult to watch, dude. Jesus. The problem is that, like, so for me, if you've seen any of the girls I've dated or talked to or whatever, I almost exclusively am attracted to women that have like a very, I don't want to say a cunty demeanor because that sounds mean, but like I have a cunty demeanor, like very like type A, aggressive, bantery types of people are usually the people that I talk to. And Bad Bunny is definitely that. Mike is definitely like a simp. So like when he's with a girl that he likes, he thinks that the way to fuck her is to be as simpy as possible. So it was always really awkward watching these two interact because Bad Bunny's just like constantly going in on this dude. And he just like won't say anything. He's just like an actual.
You think this is all funny? It's very upsetting.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Fuck, you baited me. All right, we'll watch 4 minutes of this.
I have to think you're kidding to smile. Yeah, you understand that smiling is also born out of uncomfort. So, to be fair.
Maybe that's my reaction to it.
Well, then your genuine reactions to things are really unlikable.
Well, okay, but I'll give you a piece of advice that I myself like.
And he's even got like a wingman guy trying to emotionally save him, salvage the situation.
I've learned over many years. If you always expect someone to be like on your level and understanding of the same like emotions that you have, then you'll always be disappointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but this is like a severe
But that's
failing.
sure, but like you can't.
And he's like fighting his battles for him here.
Like get mad at a person because of that.
All right. Well, I just can't hang. I can't hang out with him then.
Sure, but like that's emotional differences that you have. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have to find ways to reconcile
I can hang
that.
out with him like over voice chat, but I can't hang out with him like too much more than that.
Hello, I'm the mod she moved in with. Here is my dog slapping her, looking at the camera. What's up, CG4? I remember you. Don't worry.
Okay.
There'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow. Shoo-ba-doo-boo-boo-boo, and the sorrow till it's gone. Da-da-da-da-ba, ba-ba, ba-ba-ba. Ow!
Destroyed.
You figure out ways to reconcile those ideas, you know, or you don't. Like, I don't know. It all comes down to where you can stand in a situation. Yeah.
No, okay. It's different. One thing is smiling when you're uncomfortable. Another thing, if I'm like, yeah, I'm talking about you right now, about how I'm disappointed with you, and they go, really?
But again, that's, I don't know.
But it's a general. Okay, if we're gonna get super deep and be like, well, what do words even mean? Maybe my words mean something different than your. Okay, yeah, everyone.
Another backstabber emerges. Satevis, you motherfucker. This guy DMs me a lot. Destiny's blackness problem. Listen. I understand the set is dark, okay? I have a plan for that studio. I'm gonna redo it. Not redo the whole thing, but like reposition some elements and up the color and everything. I am aware. I will do it, okay? Motherfucker. Game of Thrones The Long Night. That's dirty. That's the comparison that you went for? That's absolutely fucking dirty. My God. I've been complaining about this for weeks on Discord. That's not true. It's actually probably been months. Including in his DMs. I feel like I'm being personally trolled. I literally laughed out loud when I saw how dark the latest episode was, with them both dressing in black and having the black silhouettes on screen. That was literally us trolling you. If they start turning on the lights over the next few episodes, I'm going to file a lawsuit for harassment and gang stalking. He should bump the brightness up like 1 or 2 stops. This shit is unwatchable otherwise. Otherwise, it's 99% of people don't care how it looks and just listen. Same issue exists in his normal streaming setup, but it's slightly better with all the gamer lights. It's even worse with compression, making the whole thing look like a mess. You can see how much darker AE is compared to normal videos on YouTube, such as this Legal Eagle episode or even the Nick Mullen interview, where notably Destiny wasn't the person responsible for setting the equipment, so it's not lit like a Stone Age cave. Especially now that I got this guy. Wait, this guy here? I think the overall color of this is fine. It's a little dark, but that's okay. I'm a dark, edgy boy. The studio is Probably looks too dark though, for sure. I just have to figure out how I want to light it more. The light's already bright enough, so I have to figure out, I'm probably not reducing the aperture because I don't want to have people coming in and out of focus. So I'm probably just gonna have to up the ISO on the camera a bit. Do we do 60 FPS out of that, 4K? If we do 60 FPS, it means the shutter speed has to be higher, which is hurting as well, but I'll probably just start bumping the ISO. That's fine. Read the comments where he leaks DMs. He DM leaks on me too? Not to leak more of his 600 Twitter's fly was good. I'm a dark, edgy boy. Edgy, what a fucking piece of shit. And then he links me. These photos are 400, 250, and 400 ISO respectively. You can't really see any noise, and on video it would be even less noticeable because the noise jiggles every frame. Okay, 250 ISO is really low. My cameras right now are either set to 0 or 400, but...
One's way of communicating theoretically could always be justifying their brain as being appropriate.
Sure.
But that doesn't stop you from having negative reactions to people's different personalities.
I'm just gonna...
Fuck, wait. Do I shoot that show at 60 or 24 FPS? I'd have to look at the noise at 1,000 ISO. Because I should shoot at 24. It would give me so much more light. It's not 60. But 60 is like what the internet likes. They like, I don't know. I'll look at it. I'll do it tonight or tomorrow. Fuck it.
I'm not saying that that's how society works. I'm just telling you how I deal with it in my own like dealings, you know? Like, for example, like there are people that do things that are distasteful to me, but
have I been a
process it. No, I process everybody.
No, I honestly want to know. Like, have I been beyond the pale? I mean,
but not for me. But again, like, I'm a different person.
No. I'm really sorry about the sort of thing.
No, I don't give a shit.
The problem was I'm going to make excuses, but I was like I couldn't step out of the car.
It literally,
the seat was so far back.
You have to understand that literally most things don't matter to me. So
that's
literally a thing that doesn't matter to me.
I don't know. I'm not like a halfway type person. Like
I've had people that have like stolen $1,000 from me. Those are things that bother me. Like,
it's so weird that like he's so scared to talk to her, he has to talk to him about talking to her while they're all right there in the same room.
Oh, I would never do that. Like the thing about me is I'm either in with you or I'm not. Mm-hmm. I'm not a like lukewarm person.
Sure.
So that's just the way it is.
So what does that have to do with anything you just said with the car door stuff?
Huh?
And the thing about me is I'm not lukewarm with people. What does that have to do with what you were saying to Lucid?
No, we're just talking about like his different way of like dealing with people. I think there was a segue away from that idea, right?
All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mike's just telling her.
My hands are red. Look how red my hand is. Isn't that weird? Well, no. Just
I always did. I pushed the
late on this one.
The granite a little.
Yeah.
That just feels good.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It just feels good.
What did you just do?
Nothing.
Why is this couch now moved? Did you just hit the couch?
No, you just moved the couch back. I just nudged it. Oh shit, they're here.
Did you just hit the couch?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Can I just say real quick how lucky we are? Because this is purely through chance that you just happened to be moving the camera in such a way that we caught that couch hit. How lucky are we?
That just feels good.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It just feels good.
What did you just do?
Nothing.
Why is this couch now moved? Did you just hit the couch?
Why did he hit the couch? To show how alpha and pissed off he was. Was Bad Bunny ever not an asshole, or was it perpetual assholery? I think that some people banter a lot and they can never turn it down. When they meet somebody else who can banter, then they'll turn it down naturally because you kind of like reach this equilibrium. But when they encounter somebody who can't, then for some reason they just turn it up like 1,000,000%. I don't know. I feel like it's a little autistic, but she's definitely one of those types of people. So Mike could never like hang with her conversationally, so she would just bully the fuck out of him constantly, and it was like, Jesus. But God damn it, why are you just making me do this? Okay, last thing. Fuck, this was fucking hilarious.
vaccine is not FDA approved. All right, hold on. Give me a second. I need to put another video on because I don't want to miss the. I don't want to miss this. Staff and security swoop in as AOC flees. When questioned, Project Veritas journalist. See if you see anything in this.
I don't remember what he explains here, but Mike set up AOC to get ambushed by Project Veritas and didn't realize it.
I drove 1 hour just to let you know that I am a journalist with Project Veritas, and I would actually like to ask you about some commentary that you said about us. Charlie Chesner from CNN was exposed as propaganda and bias.
We were creating a story there we didn't know anything about, so I think that's propaganda.
I noticed you didn't say anything about that, but you said something about us online.
Thank you so much.
Do you even live in the Bronx, in the neighborhood you claim you're from?
I think she lived there for a long time, so I don't know.
That's what I'd heard, but we haven't seen her.
Yes. Nobody saw her, no? Yeah.
Everyone in the community never seen her.
We investigated that. Turns out, actually.
Wait a minute.
How did this all end between them and Mike? Eventually it was too much for Mike and he was getting bullied, and then I think they formally split and he told his chat to never talk about her again, and that was it.
Okay.
Might as well finish the heist train I started. Has right. DSA Gasm has left.
How does this guy have 7K subs? Am I the loser? He streams right before Hassan. He's a Hassan waiting room. Unless he's changed recently. But generally what he'll do is, when he's got viewers here, the reason why they start to fall off a cliff is, so if we look at his stream on the 10th, we see that he starts streaming, he gets up to 6,000 viewers, and then at around 6:30 p.m., they all start to fall off. He loses almost 3,000 viewers within like 30 minutes, right? So what we would expect to see on June 10th is Hassan must have started streaming at around 6:15. So we go to Hassan's thing, and we look at June 10th, then we would expect to see this, and that's exactly what we see. 6:30, 6:15 is about when he starts streaming. Oh wait, that's the 9th, sorry. On the 10th, same thing though. 6:45, 6:30 is when he starts streaming. So what Mike does is every single day he starts his stream to be a Hassan waiting room. Usually they even put Hassan in the title, although they'll change the title after the stream so it's not there anymore. And then they just stream until Hassan goes live as a waiting room, and then once he goes live, he kills the stream immediately. Because all of his viewers go watch Hassan. Why did Bad Bunny get permit from Twitch? I don't know. Over the wearing the Palestinian Liberation Front stuff.
Oh shit, I closed the Jimmy Dore thing by accident. Where were we? Oh, fuck, how far in were we? I know, my shirt was looking not great in that shot. You hate to see it.
And, you know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's not. So I got contacted by lots of people. And all of a sudden studies came out that say, hey, no, that actually has been helping. So now we have contradicting studies, right?
So remember I told you that Project Veritas story. Would you have fallen for that guy? Would you have fallen for this guy? Tell me that I'm dumb for falling for this guy. I helped this guy. I fell for this fucking guy. Black Lives Matter shirt. And he was like, oh, I didn't even get a chance to talk to AOC. Motherfucker. He just seemed like a normal young guy, you know?
How do these types of people exist without collapsing into a black hole of shame? I actually don't know. I'm really curious in their own time. Like, are they honest about what they are, or do they delude themselves personally and privately as well? I actually don't know. I have no idea.
Then I was super mad. When I called him a scumbag. They edited it out. They edited it out. They edited out me calling him a scumbag.
It was a news week. I wasn't Malcolm using medical science.
This isn't even the best video. There's one where he says he tried to fight him or something, but he's like standing in the background awkwardly, and so fucking cringe. But whatever.
I joined what sounded like a good mission with good pay through a company called UG Solutions. We were given little information. Remember when Ethan fucking posted something from the Gaza Humanitarian Aid Foundation, by the way? Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. And added me the other day to be like, see, look at what your people are doing. Look at what your heroes are doing. Fucking asshole. Stupid fucking genocide lover. narcissistic douchebag. Anyway. Despicable. Disgusting.
Are you
immoral monster.
You okay, dude?
Oh, bullshit. I joined what sounded like a good mission. Oh, bullshit. I joined what sounded like a good mission.
Do you think if the transcript gets released, people see commentary YouTubers or former orbiters start to backtrack? I feel like if she shared your videos without explicit consent, it highly reinforces the implicit consent argument. I don't know. Maybe if the case, I feel like nobody's probably going to cover it until the case is finished. At that point, who knows who will say what about it, though. All the narratives around it have kind of shifted. Because remember, in the beginning, I was completely fucked. There were a million cases against me, and everybody was going to destroy me, and I was representing myself, and I was lying about everything. And now it's shifted, and then it started to shift to, well, I have really good lawyers, and she doesn't, so now it's abusive on my end, and blah, blah, blah. And now it's shifted to, it doesn't matter, actually, what happens with the court case. Even if he wins, he still did a whole bunch of wrong, horrible stuff, and now it doesn't matter at all, so it's all fucking whatever. You have to emphasize that she's literally suing you for the exact thing she did, sharing videos without your consent. Yeah, I know. It's just, it's whatever. It is what it is, base. If that's what they do in the United States, Senator, without a question, I'm actually going to do any American to speak out. Oh, his statement. Senator Alex Padilla. Pete. It was sad when she got noted. Yeah, a lot of the annoying things have to do with, again, like legal process and procedure stuff. Again, like the idea of sealing a transcript for a hearing that happened in open court where everything we have to say is under oath and the lines of questioning are clear and concise. To rush to seal that because you're so suicidal, and then to take to Twitter to fight with me, like that's some fucking, that's like some substandard human behavior. Jesus.
Like so many people around the country, I just saw something that made my stomach turn. Something I didn't think that I would see, even under this administration. A United States senator pushed to the ground and handcuffed after asking questions of a federal government official.
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go and put them behind my back.
All right, cool. What are we supposed to do about that? Well, first of all, we name what just happened, which is that the Trump government has crossed one of the reddest of red lines that can exist in a free society. Any salute to the flag or talk of patriotism or American greatness is completely hollow if you do not respect the freedoms that that flag represents, the Constitution that directs the course of this country. And they've shown what they think of those freedoms and that Constitution. Now what? Well, much will depend on the courage of members of the Senate and the House, especially Republicans. This kind of thing is designed to make them more afraid. Our job as American citizens is to make sure that they realize they have more politically to lose by riding the tiger of this out-of-control administration, which will sooner or later eat them too, then going along with it. That's going to take all of us raising our voices like never before so that something like this can never happen again.
Wow. That's crazy, John. Pete versus Newsom. Newsom sounds a little more presidential, and he's in a governor role, so he's got more responsibility, so his statements hold more weight. I really like Pete, though. I super like Pete. Did you manage to get the transcript sealed? Nope. We're still waiting for the ruling from the magistrate judge. Warren Smith was on Whatever Sunday and gave you a shout out. Bro is a professional scareho though, so don't watch. Okay.
How can you sit here and talk about that your technology can get into the wrong hands and you are literally have contracts with the Israeli military that's for killing children in Palestine? How can you stand here and promote Microsoft? This is shameful.
Microsoft is powering genocide in Palestine.
There is blood on your hands. Your profits are covered in Palestinian blood. So do not come here and lecture us on the incredible technology of Microsoft when Azure and all of your AI technologies and your contracts are being used to kill Palestinian children. How can you answer to that?
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine! Your profits are covered in Palestinian blood! Your profits are covered in Palestinian blood! Your profits are covered in Palestinian blood!
Your profits are covered
in Palestinian blood!
Your profits
They did it! They stopped the genocide! Applaud!
Imtihan, you make us proud!
Imtihan, you make us proud!
Say it clear and say it loud!
Say it clear and say it loud!
Imtihan, you make us proud!
Imtihan, you make us proud!
Man, that white nationalist you went up against the other day reminded me of the Eric Stryker debate you had, but didn't think they would be that bold on TV. Oh, yeah. Dude, especially because we're so far removed from the Nazi arc, I love running into those people because I think they expect, I could be wrong, but I think they expect you to freak out when they bring that up. We need to be a white majority country. It feels like the moment when Batman pushes the button and then all the lights go out and it's like, oh, you think the white nationalist arguments are your friend. I spent years debating Nazis. I'll gladly have. If you want to have the white supremacist, white Nazi argument, we can do this argument all day. I have no problem with that. I probably know the arguments better than you do, motherfucker. Yeah, I remember this. Mike is shameless though, so it doesn't matter. When Mike fights the when Mike fights the owner of or not the owner, but the co-author of the Abundance book, Derek Thompson. I've read the book. Have you? Not in a while. And then Mike goes back and forth and doesn't even realize it's the co-author. So obviously, right, he hasn't even read it, you know, but. Miskiff leaving Austin, becoming a nomad streamer. Wait, what was this? 4 months ago.
I'm not on my PewDiePie arc yet. I want to go to Japan, live there for a few months, and then come home, and then travel somewhere else where it's like, where do we go? I was at a party last night for Simply, and someone recommended me. They're like, dude, you know what you should do afterwards? You take a dart and you throw it at a board, and wherever it lands, you have to go. You come home, do that, you go to that place. You have to go. Like, honestly, that sounds like really fucking fun.
Did he, does he still travel or did he just go to the one place? I wonder how much money people like this have saved. Like, were they saving and investing the whole time? Because he seems like he does seem like an e-boy, like a computer guy like me. Like, he doesn't spend his money on much, right? I don't think so he should have a ton just like sitting around, right? When I was considering retiring in January, I don't know, the prospect is very weird. Like, the idea of, I considered for a second, I was like, okay, well, I can play Factorio all I want, which is based. But there is like a scary feeling of like, for me, like I'm 36. Am I going to sit at my computer for 40 years and do nothing? That sounds agonizing. I doubt any of these streamer people, unless they really hate streaming, I guess, would be content to be like, yeah, I'm not going to do anything with the rest of my life. I don't know. Testing. He said he won't come to Kick with OTK because Train made him want to off himself. Yeah, we saw that earlier. I didn't know if he was talking about Train. He just said the owners of Kick. I don't know if he was referring to Eddie there or Train or Kick in general or something. Or I don't know.
Though are into
How many times have you linked me this? I
everything now.
don't. Stephen A. Smith and Jon Stewart. Like, do I care about this? How many times have you linked this in chat, bro? Stop. Gee, I don't know. There's another. Stop spamming the same fucking link over and over and over and over and over again.
You've been doing a political commentary. You were on a show.
Maybe we'll watch it. I don't know.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia is back.
You could easily be a Dan type of guy doing whatever you want without streaming it. But yeah, but what if what I want to do is like argue with people publicly and shit like that?
Constitutional crisis averted, day saved. It turns out the Trump administration could get him back whenever they wanted and they were just lying through their teeth. Except
Fuck, I was gonna make a joke, but you just said it, yeah. I thought we couldn't get this guy back. I thought he was lost forever.
that it seems, unfortunately, the Trump administration only brought him back to try him on some very serious federal charges.
Abrego Garcia has landed in the United States to face justice. On May 21st, a grand jury in the Middle District of Tennessee returned a sealed indictment charging Abrego Garcia with alien smuggling and conspiracy to commit alien smuggling in violation of Title 8 U.S.C. 1324.
Yes, after months of defying court orders and claiming they just couldn't possibly bring Kilmar back from an Salvadoran torture prison, now the Trump administration is proudly announcing Kilmar's return to U.S. soil so they can pursue human smuggling charges against him. And you know the charges are completely legit because they've rolled out the red carpet, done the media blitz proclaiming that Kilmar is, among other things, a human trafficker, an MS-13 gang member, and even a pedophile now. But this announcement, with its barrage of unproven smears, and we'll talk about that too, comes just in the nick of time for the administration, which was facing potential sanctions in a Maryland civil case filed by Kilmar and his family. Now, as you may recall, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was born in El Salvador. After being threatened for several years by the Barrio 18 gang, Kilmar fled his home country and joined his brother in Maryland. In 2019, he was picked up in an ice sting outside of a Hyattsville, Maryland Home Depot. Law enforcement claimed that an informant and identified Kilmar as a member of MS-13, but no actual charges were ever filed, and Kilmar's immigration proceedings resulted not in a deportation, but instead in a withholding of...
How do you survive a plane crash? Just sit in seat 11A.
Removal order, which, because he had demonstrated a credible fear for his life, barred Kilmar's removal to El Salvador specifically. Now, after his release from immigration detention, Kilmar returned to his life in Maryland, had a child with his wife, helped his wife raise her two other children, and was employed as a sheet metal worker. But on March 12, 2025, Kilmar was driving home with his 5-year-old son when he was pulled over by immigration officers. They arrested him without explanation and threatened to have social services pick up his son if his wife didn't arrive within 10 minutes. Kilmar was then whisked off to ICE detention and, with no due process whatsoever, was sent for an indefinite stay in a torture prison in El Salvador, the very country a judge had expressly forbidden the U.S. government from sending him to. Kilmar's wife, Jennifer, had no idea where he was until someone sent her a picture of the inmates in El Salvador's notorious CICOT prison, and she recognized her husband in the photo. Now, as we talked about, CICOT has a well-documented history of human rights abuses, including torture, overcrowding, and death at the hands of guards and other inmates. Yet the Trump administration has putatively paid $6 million in a contract that no one has seen yet to El Salvador to house deportees, including many who had never been convicted of any crime, in CICOT under the watchful eye of Bukele, the dictator of El Salvador. Trump and Bukele both bragged about this arrangement on social media, on the news, and in fact, even in the White House.
How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or whether I do it force, I'm not going to do it.
Trump even publicly raised the possibility of sending Americans, homegrowns as he called them, to CICOT.
We also have homegrown criminals that push people into subways, that hit elderly ladies on the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, that are absolute monsters. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country.
And Bukele has seemed excited about the idea of getting paid to violate the rights of American citizens. Meanwhile, Abrego Garcia's wife, Jennifer, filed a suit against the Trump administration. In several court filings, the Trump administration admitted that it had sent Abrego Garcia to El Salvador in error, but the administration still refused to bring Kilmar back. After Maryland federal judge Paula Zenas granted a temporary restraining order directing the Trump administration to, quote, facilitate Kilmar's return, the Trump administration went on the offensive and resurrected a slew of unproven accusations that Abrego Garcia was a member of the MS-13 gang, and even went so far as to Photoshop a picture of Abrego Garcia's hand tattoos with clearly non-original lettering of MS-13. They touted some old restraining orders that his wife had filed against him, and most important here, they unearthed the story of a time he'd been pulled over by law enforcement in Tennessee and questioned because he was driving from Texas to Maryland with several other immigrants, and the administration used that stop to imply that Kilmar was a human trafficker. Now, some of those accusations may be true, but we can't be sure which ones because Kilmar was never tried in court. The government has never had to meet its burden of proof, and no judge or jury has ever considered the evidence and made a finding. The administration's accusations were just that, they were accusations, and without due process, there was no way to evaluate their veracity. But in addition to the PR, the Trump administration also appealed Judge Zenas' order to the Supreme Court, which issued a unanimous decision affirming that the administration had to, quote, facilitate Abrego Garcia's return to the United States. Though oddly, Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller apparently read an entirely different Supreme Court decision and declared this a victory for the White House.
In our favor.
In our favor, against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel
compel the foreign policy function of the United States.
And around the same time, Trump and Bukele, who had a meeting at the White House, had jaunty back and forth talking about how they couldn't possibly return Abrego Garcia to the United States.
The question's preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
But meanwhile, Judge Zenas was growing increasingly weary of these antics and ordered the administration to give regular status updates about what steps it was taking to facilitate Abrego Garcia's return. But the administration did not take this order.
Where is she from? I don't like this last name. It makes her seem like she's an alien. That X letter is a very spooky letter.
In order the administration.
What is the background? Where does this name come from? Xenix? She sounds like a Scientologist.
To give regular status updates about what steps it was taking to facilitate Abrego Garcia's return. But the administration did not take this order particularly seriously. The Trump administration filed a series of uninformative so-called status updates, which basically amounted to thumbing their noses at the court. But in response to this recalcitrance after a contentious hearing, the judge granted the plaintiff's request for expedited discovery. But not surprisingly, the administration immediately appealed, asking for a stay of the judge's discovery order. But the Court of Appeals denied the request for a stay, and the government was left in the uncomfortable position of having to provide Judge Zenas with evidence that it was complying with the law, which it seemed clear they were not. Meanwhile, Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen paid Abrego Garcia a visit in El Salvador. But after several characteristically anemic status reports, plaintiffs filed a motion claiming that the Trump administration wasn't engaging in discovery in good faith. Defendants objected to plaintiffs' discovery requests, arguing that the timeline for discovery was too fast. The discovery requests were based on the false premise that the United States can or has been ordered to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador, and claiming that the material was privileged. But the judge wasn't having it and took the Trump administration to task for its continued non-compliance, stating that, quote, defendants and their counsel well know that the falsehood lies not in any supposed premise, but in their continued mischaracterization of the Supreme Court's order. Defendants' objection reflects a willful bad faith refusal to comply with discovery obligations. And she found the defendants' privilege claims equally specious and their complaints about the timeline unconvincing because, quote, for weeks defendants have sought refuge behind vague and unsubstantiated assertions of privilege, using them as a shield to obstruct discovery and evade compliance with this court's orders. But she directed plaintiffs to narrow their interrogatories and ordered defendants to actually answer. Now, over the next month, the parties continued to fight over the scope of discovery and the adequacy of the Trump administration's responses. But because of the administration's continual recalcitrance in this case, including, according to plaintiffs, discovery deficiencies.
We're recounting all of this. What is the point of this video? They're trying to charge him with a bunch of shit. I guess he gets to that eventually.
Consistent delays and refusal to reply properly to interrogatories, plaintiffs asked Judge Zenas permission to file a motion for sanctions. And on June 4th, after months of uncooperative behavior, the judge granted the plaintiffs permission to move forward with their motion for sanctions. Now, meanwhile, the Trump administration tried to get the entire lawsuit dismissed, claiming that Judge Zenas and the Maryland District Court lacked jurisdiction. While that motion to dismiss was still pending and plaintiffs were busy drafting their motion for sanctions, the Trump administration made the surprise announcement that, amazingly, Abrego Garcia had been returned to the United States. Now, if you've been renditioned to a foreign country and then inexplicably brought back to the United States only to face federal charges, you're probably going to want a good lawyer. But if you want a great lawyer, my law firm, the Eagle Team, can help. If you've got in a car crash,
oh my God, is the Eagle Team defending him?
Suffered a data breach. And by the way, we don't get paid, team. This court apprised of everyone in a one-page notice filed with the court on June 6th. The Trump administration informed the court that, quote, on April 4th, 2025, this court ordered defendants to facilitate the return of plaintiff Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia to the United States. Defendants hereby provide notice that they have complied with the court's order and indeed have successfully facilitated Abrego Garcia's return. As the Attorney General recently announced, Abrego Garcia was returned to the United States today to stand trial on criminal charges in the Middle District of Tennessee. So the administration then argued that the judge's order should be dissolved and the entire case should be dismissed as moot. In the meantime, the administration requested a stay on all case proceedings, including discovery. So it turns out that despite the Trump administration's repeated protestations and statements to the court, they actually were capable of bringing Abrego Garcia back. Or as the plaintiffs put it in their June 8th motion asking the court to continue to allow discovery and potential sanctions, quote, two things are now crystal clear. First, the government has always had the ability to return Abrego Garcia, but it simply refused to do so. Second, the government has conducted a determined stalling campaign to stave off contempt sanctions long enough to concoct a politically face-saving exit from its own predicament. And obviously the face-saving exit the plaintiffs are referring to is the Trump administration's decision to bring Abrego Garcia back to the United States, but only after the Department of Justice had indicted him for charges relating to a 2022 traffic stop in Tennessee. So let's talk about that incident. Here's what we know so far. On December 1st, 2022, Abrego Garcia was pulled over for speeding in a vehicle with 8 passengers and told police that he had come from Texas several days earlier and were traveling to Maryland to do construction work. The police officers who stopped him speculated that he might be transporting people for money because there was no luggage in the vehicle, but they decided not to ticket or charge Abrego Garcia. Instead, they sent him on with a warning. And so it's this incident that appears to form the basis of the federal charges that have been filed against Abrego Garcia. And on June 6th, we finally learned what those were when the Trump Department of Justice asked for the unsealing of a shocking May 21st grand jury indictment against Abrego Garcia. So first a note on grand juries. A grand jury trial is not a regular criminal trial. It is in most criminal cases the precursor to a criminal trial, during which the prosecutor presents a group of randomly selected jurors with the prosecutor's potential arguments against a defendant. It's how the charges get formalized. In an actual criminal trial, the defendant would have an attorney, an opportunity to present witnesses and arguments in their defense, and the ability to confront the witnesses against them. But in a grand jury proceeding, the defendant and his attorneys cannot be present to refute or even hear the evidence or witness testimony. And grand juries can also consider evidence like hearsay that would not be admissible in a criminal trial. In a criminal trial, the prosecution must prove beyond reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty. And in a grand jury trial, the prosecutor must only prove that there is probable cause to believe that a crime has been committed and that the person being investigated was the person who committed it. And obviously, grand juries do not convict people. They simply recommend whether a prosecutor should launch a criminal trial against that person. And grand jury proceedings are not adversarial proceedings where both sides can present evidence. They are one-sided proceedings where only the prosecutor gets to present their case, which is why grand juries have often been criticized as a rubber stamp for prosecutors. But sometimes, as is the case here, a grand jury says there's not even enough evidence for one particular charge or others. And that acts as a sort of veto against the charges even before a case has been filed. And in this previously sealed grand jury indictment, the Department of Justice alleged that Abrego Garcia's 2022 trip through Tennessee was one of more than 100 human trafficking trips that Abrego Garcia made as part of a years-long conspiracy. Now, obviously, anytime we deal with an indictment, these are merely accusations from the government. They are so far unproven. But according to the government's filings in the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Tennessee, the government alleges from 2016 to 2025, Abrego Garcia conspired with several other unnamed non-citizens to transport thousands of undocumented immigrants from South and Central American countries into the United States. The government alleges that Abrego Garcia's co-conspirators helped the immigrants illegally cross across the border into Texas, then Abrego Garcia and other drivers were paid to transport the undocumented immigrants to other parts of the United States. And according to the indictment, both Abrego Garcia and many of the people he transported were members of the MS-13 gang. The government is also alleging that Abrego Garcia and his co-conspirators transported people, including children, in unsafe ways in makeshift seats and in the floors of vehicles, and that Abrego Garcia himself had abused some of the women he had transported. And the indictment also mentioned that one of Abrego Garcia's supposed co-conspirators was involved in a 2021 incident where a tractor trailer carrying migrants overturned in Mexico and caused more than...
I'm just curious, actually. Where is this indictment? The fuck is this? Is the indictment public somewhere? It should. Why? I don't understand. Somebody has it. Who's got the indictment? Abrego Garcia, federal indictment. .gov. We're going to page 2. Good luck. Page 3. Oh, Shrek 2. Thank you. Okay. From in or around 2016 through in or around 2025, Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia and others known and unknown to the grand jury conspired to bring undocumented aliens to the United States from countries such as Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Ecuador, and elsewhere, ultimately passing through Mexico before crossing into Texas. The co-conspirators knew the undocumented aliens did not possess authorization to enter the United States. This was issued from a U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Tennessee, which is where Legal Eagle said that he was being charged at. And then these are the 4 laws that they are charging him for infractions under. Okay. Let's see. Garcia and co-conspirators from El Salvador, blah, 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 and elsewhere communicated with each other using cell phones and social media applications to facilitate the unlawful transportation of undocumented aliens. Garcia and co-conspirators collected financial payments from undocumented aliens for illegal transportation. Unnamed co-conspirators 1 through 5 were co-conspirators with Garcia, citizens of El Salvador. They were not U.S. citizens. Blah, blah. Citizen was also a member and associate of the transnational criminal organization La Mara Salvatrucha, also known and hereinafter referred to as MS-13. Okay. Criminal enterprise. Garcia, as uses status in MS-13 to further his criminal activity. Over the course of the conspiracy, the co-conspirators knowingly and unfollowed transported thousands of undocumented aliens who had no authorization to be present in the U.S. Okay. Count 1, conspiracy to transport aliens. Garcia did combine, conspire, confederate, and agree with co-conspirators 1 through 6 to knowingly and in reckless disregard of the fact that certain aliens had come to, entered, or remain in the U.S. in violation of transport and move said aliens within the U.S. by means of transportation, otherwise in further such violation of law, with intent to further the unlawful presence of the aliens in the U.S. and for private financial gain in violation of Title 8. 1324 USC. Is this Title 8? Yeah. Okay. I'm curious what this requires. A1A2. A1A2. A1A. Any person who, knowing or in reckless disregard of the fact of the fact that an alien has come to, entered, or remains in the United States in violation of the law, transports or moves or attempts to transport or move such alien within the United States by means of transportation otherwise in furtherance of such violation of the law, Does this charge mean that if you drive somebody around who's an illegal immigrant, you're guilty of it? Is that what this means? Oof, okay. A2 and B1. Wait. And B1 in general. Any conveyance, including any vessel, vehicle, or aircraft that has been or is being used in the commission of a violation of subsection A, the gross proceeds of such violation and any property traceable to such conveyance or proceeds shall be seized and subject to forfeiture. Any conveyance. So like your car, basically, and any money earned has to be given back to the government or is seized. Okay, spooky. Damn, is that really a criminal charge? I'm just curious. If I have a person that I know in the United States, I know they're an undocumented person or an illegal immigrant, and I drive them around, could I be charged with this? Is this a crime you could be charged with? Or are there other elements here that I'm not aware of? Knowing or in reckless disregard of the fact that an alien has come to, entered, or remains in the U.S. in violation of law, transports or moves or attempts to transport or move such alien within the U.S. by means of transportation or otherwise in furtherance of such violation of the law. In furtherance of such violation, does that mean that you're moving them with the explicit purpose of just, like, I wonder what this part means here. What the case law. A2 and B1. I think I did read the wrong B1. It's this here, I think. The capitalization matters. Any person who violates subparagraph A for each alien in respect of such violation occurs in the case of violation of subparagraph A1 or in which the offense was done for the purpose of commercial advantage or private financial gain. Be fine. Okay, yeah. This, I think, was the other one they were calling it. Huh. Damn. Okay. Agreed to work together to transport undocumented aliens for profit and private financial gain. How would they ever prove that you knew they were illegal? I mean, depending on what devices they have, I imagine that could be really easy, right? Like if you were illegal, somebody saying something along the lines of like, oh shit, like the cops are coming, like I gotta get out, or like some stuff like that. I feel like that actually fairly easy to prove probably, right? Let's see. Undocumented else would illegally cross the U.S. border. Garcia and CC1 ordinarily picked up the undocumented aliens in the Houston, Texas area shortly after the aliens had unlawfully crossed the southern border of the U.S. Garcia and CC1 then transported the undocumented aliens from Texas to other parts of the U.S. and to further aliens' unlawful presence in the U.S. Okay. So this is like coyote stuff, kind of. Yeah, Kafka. Technically, the recklessness there means that you wouldn't need to know, but you should know. But I feel like you could prove even a higher thing than reckless. I feel like that'd be pretty arbitrarily easy to prove. But my girlfriend's Mexican family openly talk about the illegals and coyotes they know. Yeah, I imagine it's probably people just, whatever. During the course of the conspiracy, CC1 was incarcerated for alien smuggling, was deported from the U.S. During that period, occasionally and simultaneously transported firearms illegally purchased in Texas for distribution or resale in Maryland. Garcia occasionally simultaneously transported undocumented aliens and narcotics purchased in Texas for distribution and resale in Maryland. Sounds like they don't really put any evidence in the indictment, so. And they also include Garcia a lot with other co-conspirators. Like, this is a pretty crazy one. Garcia, CC1 and CC2 transported undocumented aliens in an unsafe manner, including using reconfigured vehicles with aftermarket unattached seating rows, and they transported children on the floorboards of vehicles in order to maximize profits. But they're always including, like, other co-conspirators in these claims. This is about the traffic stop. Okay. Damn, this will be a crazy court case. Why the fuck is this? Oh, because I'm not on a government website.
Deaths. And based on these allegations, the government indicted Abrego Garcia on 2 counts from 8 U.S.C. 1324, a conspiracy to transport aliens and unlawful transportation of undocumented aliens. The first section creates criminal liability for anyone who, quote, knowing or in reckless disregard of the fact that an alien has come to, entered, or remains in the United States in violation of law, transports or moves or attempts to transport or move such alien within the United States by means of transportation or otherwise in furtherance of such violation of law. So to make its case, the DOJ will have to prove that Abrego Garcia transported or attempted to transport illegal aliens within the United States, and also that he either knew or recklessly disregarded the fact that they were in the United States illegally. Now, in the indictment, the government highlighted the fact that Abrego Garcia supposedly received compensation for this work, as Pam Bondi has claimed it was his, quote, full-time job. The DOJ is probably emphasizing the financial aspects of the accusations because under the law, if Abrego Garcia was financially compensated for transporting undocumented immigrants, that would allow the prosecution to pursue a stiffer sentence. Now, we don't yet know what evidence the government has in support of these allegations. We'll have to reserve judgment until we see that evidence. But I will say, it is awfully convenient that they've suddenly found all of these horrendous accusations relating to the seemingly random guy that just became the flashpoint for this entire international snafu, which leads me to be more than a little skeptical about these accusations. Now, the Trump DOJ has also filed a motion for detention, asking the court to hold Abrego Garcia in pretrial custody instead of releasing him on bail pending trial. In support of that argument that Abrego Garcia is a danger to the community and should not be released, the government dropped a few more bombs in both its motion and Attorney General Pam Bondi's announcement, which are not part of the indictment, claiming that Abrego Garcia had also transported firearms and drugs, that he was responsible for the murder of a rival gang member's mother in El Salvador, and that he solicited naked pictures from a minor. But Abrego Garcia has not been indicted on either of those claims. No evidence has been offered to support them, and not even the grand.
Wait, was that in there? Wait, hold on, did I miss that? 1 second. This was about the traffic stop, unlawful transportation. Wait.
Pictures from a minor, transported firearms, its motion, and Attorney General Pam Bondi's announcement, which are not part of the indictment, claiming that Abrego Garcia had also transported firearms.
Oh, this is like an announcement or something of the. Okay, if convicted at trial, the defendant faces maximum 10 years for each alien he transported accordingly. Sentence. The grand jury alleges, among other troubling facts, that defendant 1 smuggled thousands of undocumented aliens to the United States. 2 is a member and associate of MS-13, a foreign terrorist organization. 3 transported numerous transported children. Okay, abused undocumented alien females under his control while transporting them through the United States and trafficked firearms and narcotics from Texas to Maryland on multiple occasions. The evidence the defendant committed the offenses charged in the indictment is overwhelming. Additional evidence that the government has uncovered as part of its investigation, discussed further below, regarding the defendant's past violence and attempted solicitation of child pornography. But that wasn't in the indictment. Okay.
And drugs, that he was responsible for the murder of a rival gang member's mother in El Salvador, and that he solicited naked pictures from a minor. But Abrego Garcia has not been indicted on either of those claims. No evidence has been offered to support them, and not even the grand jury considered them. Now, putting aside the salaciousness of these new allegations, it's worth mentioning just how unbelievably improper it is for the sitting attorney general to make these prejudicial statements about a criminal defendant who is actively being prosecuted by the Department of Justice. The Trump administration's campaign to smear Abrego Garcia in the media is itself a breach of norms and potentially prosecutorial ethics. In the past, federal, state, and local prosecutors from both political parties have generally only publicly accused defendants of crimes for which a grand jury indicted them. Discussing other potential crimes has long been regarded as an abuse of prosecutorial power, risking obvious unfair harm to defendants' reputations. And according to NBC News, a former senior Justice Department official who requested anonymity citing fears of retaliation said that Bondi often speaks as a partisan Trump loyalist, not as a neutral law enforcement.
Yeah, you don't say, huh?
An officer. Yeah, dude, we have TVs and eyes. We can see it. But additionally, according to an ABC News report, concerns about the Trump administration's behavior in the Abrego Garcia case may have led to the resignation of Ben Schrader, the chief of the criminal division of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Nashville. Sources briefed on Schrader's decision told ABC News that Schrader's resignation was prompted by concerns that the case against Abrego Garcia was being pursued for political reasons. Mr. Schrader did not directly address the speculation, but in a pointed LinkedIn post, he stated, quote, "Earlier today, after nearly 15 years as an assistant U.S. attorney, I resigned as chief of the criminal division at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Tennessee. It has been an incredible privilege to serve as a prosecutor with the Department of Justice, where the only job description I've ever known."
Why did you resign? He should have made a stronger statement. Meh.
Is to do the right thing in the right way for the right reasons. So yet again, a career prosecutor with the DOJ resigned rather than move forward with these criminal charges. So I think at this point we can move from being skeptical about the government's charges against Abrego Garcia to just assuming that they're BS. But still, at least this time he's getting due process. A jury will decide whether the charges against him actually stand up in a criminal court. But already there appear to be some factual disputes in the government's findings, including inconsistent statements about whether Abrego Garcia told Tennessee police that he was coming from Missouri or Texas. None of these supposed witnesses mentioned in the indictment are named. Many of them appear to be convicted criminals who may have had incentives to be jailhouse informants. And an ABC News report indicates that one of the informants is currently serving a sentence in Alabama for illegally re-entering the United States. All these factors will have to be considered by an actual jury, and all these witnesses will have to be available for cross-examination and scrutiny. Though, as Abrego Garcia's attorney has pointed out, this still isn't true justice because, quote, true justice means the chance to defend yourself before you're punished, not after. Meanwhile, President Trump has claimed that he thinks the administration has, quote, a very easy case against Abrego Garcia, which sort of raises the question, if it was so easy, why not prosecute him earlier instead of making the politically controversial and unconstitutional decision to whisk him off to a torture prison without due process? And for the time being, the case before Judge Zenas is still alive. The plaintiffs have asked the judge to continue to hold on to her jurisdiction over the case, to order discovery against the Trump administration, and to consider their motion for sanctions. And regardless of the outcome of Abrego Garcia's criminal trial and civil case, the constitutional problems still remain because dozens of other men are still being held in the Salvadoran torture prison without trial or recourse. As Representative Jamie Raskin pointed out, quote, they obviously want to make this about whether or not he ends up being a good guy or a bad guy, but it's not a moral question. It's a legal question. It's a constitutional question of whether the government can pick people up and take them out of the country. So yeah, that's why it's probably a good idea to scrub as much of your personal information off the internet as possible, which you can do with today's sponsor, Incogni. Because Incogni removes your personal data from online data brokers by reaching out directly and forcing them to take your personal info down. If these data...
Okay.